now. Good evening, everybody. I am Meg Smith, and welcome all of you to our virtual celebration of Edgar Allan Poe, born this day, January 19th, 1809, in Boston, Massachusetts, where my family on my father's side also hails. And it also is the 215th anniversary of Poe's birth. And I think as most people who know about Poe's reading know that his life was as interesting and mysterious and folkloric as his writing. I think to me what's important about Poe is the tremendous body of work that he left that speaks not only to horror and mystery, which he is so much associated with, but the tender emotions that he expressed of love, of discovery, of wonder, and of mystery. And also, I honestly, it was quite well known for being actually quite an analytical writer and reader. And I think that part of his legacy is sometimes lost. But we'll endeavor to bring all that he has inspired to this evening. I have a wonderful cast of readers and writers. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, all of you. And I invite everybody to have a look in the Facebook event link. I've put all their photos and bios. So one thing Poe is definitely known for is remembering people who he loved very much, who passed on. And in that spirit, I've asked Jackie Oldham, one of our readers, to actually read a dedication to a much loved poet who has passed on. And I'm calling up her image on the screen. I hope you can all see that. This is Tippy Blevins. She passed away earlier this year. And she left quite a great body of wonderful poetry herself, especially speculative and horror and fantasy poetry. So Tippy, you are much loved and missed and very much among us. And Jackie, if you would read the invocation, which comes from one of Poe's bereavement poems, To One in Paradise.
Yes, can you hear me?
I definitely can hear you.
Great, all right. And all my days are trances, and all my nightly dreams are where thy gray eye glances, and where thy footstep gleams. In what ethereal dances, by what eternal streams.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And thank you so much for that beautiful reading. Thank you to Poe for that beautiful poem. And thank you, Tippy, for all that you have done for us and left us. And we hope that you will be with us in spirit this night. So with that, we are going to go directly to our reading of The Raven, which is a relay style of reading where we're going to go right from one poet to the next. And the person leading us is Chad. Chad, take it away. You are the opening act.
I am the opening act. Thank you very much, Meg, and thank you everyone for joining. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more.
Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore.
And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, 'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, nothing more.
Presently, my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. Sir, said I, or Madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is, I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more.
Mr. Clean Multi-Surface Liquid Cleaner. Enjoy the look.
Deep into
We had a phantom intrude. How Poe-like. I
okay.
think they banished
Okay,
them. We
okay.
banished them now.
Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming, dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token. And the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. Surely, said I, surely, that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more.
Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not to least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, parched and sat and nothing more.
Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore.
But the raven, sitting only on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore.
Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore.
But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling. Straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then, upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore.
This I sat, engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease, reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore.
Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror hunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quote the raven, nevermore.
Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God that we both adore. Tell the soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token that lie soul have spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart. Take thy form from out my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadows on the floor. And my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore.
Thank you all so much for that recitation of the Raven. And thank you everyone who's been listening to us this evening. And I will just say, whenever we do this communal reading of the Raven, which is one poem of continuous 18 stanzas, but every voice has brought something different from our own hearts and souls to this, and it is very much heard and felt. And thank you everyone who's been listening to help to give life and spirit to this reading. I have put into the chat, and I'll just read it out loud for folks who are watching. You may make a donation. It's not necessary, of course, and not expected, but it does help to support the readers in some of our efforts to promote the presence of Edgar Allan Poe here in Lowell, Mass. So PayPal is meg@megsmithwriter.com. Venmo, which is a little more prosaic, it's at Margaret, uppercase M, hyphen Smith, uppercase SMITH, hyphen 674. And that's it, nevermore. At least I tried to make it rhyme. So I also wanted to make just a couple of super quick announcements. One is that for folks who have been admiring my virtual background, this is a photo taken by Heather Barker, who is a wonderful photographer based here in the Lowell, Mass area. That photo is actually from the 2015 Edgar Allan Poe show. It's a setting that I created, and I could think of no better photo to have as a virtual background. And for those who are interested in Heather's work, I'm also dropping a link for her into the chat. And if you do not see it, let me know. And thank you so much. We're having some wonderful responses in there, and I appreciate everybody who's been dropping some notes of praise to the readers who've been joining. And yes, I know there was a cat interloper. In my opinion, would not be a reading of Edgar Allan Poe if a cat did not make some sort of intrusion. It just wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a Poe reading. It would be something else. So the other
Was
thing
that
that
cat by the name of Pluto by any chance?
is the cat what? Sorry?
Pluto by any
Pluto.
chance?
We could have a cat's Plutonian shore. Sure, why not? Absolutely. I'm almost disappointed that my cats didn't make an appearance, but I'm sure that they will some other time. We have 3 cats here, Kirby, Keely, and Snickers. And so I wanted to thank you so much, everybody, for all the great notes, and I hope all the readers will get a chance to have a look. So one last link that I wanted to drop in here, as I've mentioned to a couple of folks earlier, Edgar Allan Poe, we know him to be associated very famously with several cities, Baltimore, where Jackie is graciously tuning in from, of course, and Boston, his birthplace, and there are several others. But one place that is not always mentioned or celebrated as much is actually here in Lowell, Massachusetts. He came here 3 times between 1848 and 1849. So this was after the death of his wife, Virginia Clem. He was invited here to present a paper. There are a number of correspondences between him and some other folks, including women. And much like Lowell's native son, Jack Kerouac, a lot of what came to pass during Poe's visits here to Lowell is very much like so many things associated with Poe, part historical fact, part folklore, part mystery, and part of things that I don't think we'll ever fully understand, which makes it in some ways all the more enticing. That end, I started quite a few years ago having a periodic Edgar Allan Poe show, and I'm dropping a link also into the chat. We have a Facebook group for the Edgar Allan Poe show, and I am pleased to tell you all, as soon as the chat lets me go through, there we are, that the Edgar Allan Poe show is returning to Lowell in October 20th, with a series of spoken word events and live performances and a number of other multimedia presentations. So those who are interested, please keep an eye on that link. The events are developing even as we speak, and I'll have more specific information later on. And so I'm about to end the recording. Anybody else who would like to stay on for a little while to talk about Poe and poetry is most welcome. Otherwise, we'll be turning off the recording now for the folks who will be listening in later, and anyone who wasn't able to make it, it will be put on YouTube. I'll be sharing the link with all of the readers that you are welcome to share. So everyone who has joined us here this evening, and anyone else who might actually be listening later and viewing on YouTube, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. And we hope to see you again, nevermore, which means very soon. Thank you so much.